Hey guys and gals, week 4 here, distance learning, Davidson High School. We're going to go over law of sines and some area formulas for this week. So let's get right into example 1. Here's how it will be presented on Delta Math. Sorry, last week you couldn't see it, but this week you can. We're going to have area of triangle, parallelogram. I think there's 4 of those. And then law of sine problems, solving for unknowns, 6 of those, okay? All right, so you're going to see one worded kind of like this. Now, in this group of problems, you see how it says triangle and parallelogram. Okay, so they're going to be a mix. You might get 3 of one, 1 of the other. Hopefully it's 2 and 2, but who knows, okay? They're very similar in nature. That's why they lump them together. So let's start with the triangle type problems. Here's the formula. Anytime we're given side, angle, side, we take half of the 2 sides times the sine of the included angle. Okay, so this is just a generic triangle here, but remember, opposite the angle A, we use lowercase a. Opposite angle B, lowercase b, and so on. So you can see how this is a side, angle, side scenario. Oh, sorry, looking at the wrong spots. A and B, here's the 2 sides, and then the included angle C. Okay, so there's the information you're going to be given. So for this example over here, UVW, so an angle B is 141. So I'm going to put 141 right here. Call that angle B based on that given information. All right, so lowercase b is going to be here. It doesn't really matter where I put U and W. I'll just put U here and W here. Okay, so it says side W is 44, so that's going to be directly across from that, 44 centimeters. And then opposite U is going to be 83 centimeters. Okay, so if you draw the sketch correctly, it looks pretty obvious that this is a side, angle, side scenario. So we're ready. Let's just go ahead and dump everything in and then go to our calculator. So 1/2 times the 2 sides. Doesn't matter which one you go with first. Times the other side. Times the sine of the included angle of 141 degrees. Okay, so let me show you how we can use Delta Math's calculator to punch this in. Remember, this is when you're ready to punch in the answer. So if you want to do some calculations, go all the way to the top up here and use this calculator. All right, so can't see this very good, can we? I guess that's not bad. All right, so if I want to do sine of 141, I need to hit this function button right here. So that function, I want to hit sine of, I'm going to hit back, 141. I'm going to close that angle, or maybe even right arrow to get out of that scenario. Now I need to multiply that by the 83, and then by the other side, 44, and then times 1/2, or just times 0.5. And then hit enter. And then off to the right, you can see that number. It's really light, but it says 1149. And I believe they say round it to the nearest square centimeter. So the answer is 1,149. Okay, centimeters squared. All right, when you punch it in those, your answer, you don't actually need to put the units in there. 1149 is going to be enough. Here, let me show you. 1149. Submit answer. Yep, and we're good. It accepted it. Okay. All right, so on to area of parallelograms. Let me get rid of this one first. Okay, let's go over the formula first for area for parallelograms. Very similar. Okay, and this is why they're so similar. If we have just a generic parallelogram, we can take any parallelogram and turn it into 2 triangles, right? Okay, so simply put, since I have 2 triangles, we just take this formula, multiply this by 2, and the 2 times the 1/2 is 1. Okay, so that's why it's just AB sine of angle C. Okay, All right, so what's the information we're given here? Two sides of a parallelogram are 170 and 650. The measure of the angle between these sides is 113. So here's kind of visual aid on this. Okay, so the angle is 113 degrees. They didn't label it for us, it's fine. And then the other two sides are 650 and 170. Just throw things in there. You can see the side angle side again. So we get the area equals 650 times 170 times sine of 113. Okay, we go with the calculator, plug it in just like I modeled already for you, and the answer is 101,716 feet squared. Okay, once again, when you punch it in, you won't need this. You're just going to need this number. It's the nearest square foot. All right. Okay, so there's the area formulas. Let's move on to law of sines. Let me bring up the problem I have ready to go. Okay, so you're going to be asked to find unknown sides using what's called the law of sines. Law of sines is typically used for three different cases or given information. The two we're going to focus on this week are the scenarios of giving one side and two angles. This is still one side and two angles, just a little different order. All right, there's also what's called the ambiguous case, which is two sides and an angle, but we're not going to address that. We're going to leave that out in our distance learning, okay? So we're going to focus on these two. All right, here's what the law of sines tells us. Let's just start with a generic triangle. Call this A, B, C. So this will be lowercase a, lowercase b across, and C here. Law of sines works like this. If I take any side of the triangle and divide it by the sine of the angle directly across from it, and do the same thing with another side, take B and divide it by the sine of the angle across from it, these ratios happen to be equal. It's kind of a cool little triangle trick or triangle phenomena, if you will, that works for any triangle. And once again, if I take side C and divide it by the sine of the angle across from it, these are all equal. No matter what triangle you draw or make, this relationship is always equal. Okay? It's not always equal to the same number. One triangle, this might be 0.7, and then these are going to follow suit, be 0.7. Another triangle, maybe it's 1.5. But they're always going to be equal. So we can use that to our advantage to find unknown sides. Okay? All right, so then I got the success criteria over here. So I'm going to take you through that with example 3. So what they give us over here on Delta Math. QRS, so put QRS wherever you want. Angle S is 23 degrees. Q is 22 degrees. And side R is 1.5 inches. Okay, so with this information, getting a sketch in front of you is going to be key. You want to see what you're missing and what they're asking you to do. Okay? As you see in Delta Math, it says find the length of S. So where's S? Right here. This is the one we're looking for. Okay? Okay, sorry about the interruption there. Okay, so if I try to use the law of sines to set this up, we actually will get stuck because we're going to have two unknowns. Let me show you what I mean by that, okay? This is usually where we want to find the third angle right now, but if I forgot that step, this is what would happen. I'd say S divided by the sine of the angle opposite, and I can set that equal to side R, 1.5, divided by sine of the angle across from it. Okay, but we have two unknowns right now, so I can't solve this. We want to get down to one unknown. But if I had this angle, I would have one unknown, and I could find side S. So that's what we want to do right now. Let's go ahead and find angle R. Okay, so angle R will be 180 minus the other two sides. I'm sorry, the other two angles in the triangle. Okay, since we know these add up to 180, we can do that to get angle R. Okay, so now I'm going to replace that with 135 degrees. Now I only have one unknown, side S. Okay, so we just took care of steps 2 and 3. Now we're going to go ahead and cross multiply this and solve for the unknown side. Remember, cross multiplication is a good way to always get it out of fraction form when you have a fraction set equal to a fraction. Okay, so when we cross multiply, we're going to say S times sine of 135 and set that equal to the other product, 1.5 times sine of 23 degrees. Okay, still not solved for us, so we want to divide by this number. So I'm going to divide this side by that as well. Okay, so now I have, because this is going to give me 1, I have S equals this. All right, so we could use delta math again. I mean, I know a lot of you guys have your calculators too, so if you're using this, make sure you're in degrees mode, okay? And so we just got to punch in 1.5 sine 23 degrees, and then we want to divide that by sine of 135. Okay, so I think they're asking for what? There's 1/10 of an inch on the directions, so we're going to say 0.8. So S equals 0.8 for the unknown side. Okay, so there's law of sines. Like I said, it's just going to be these two cases. You're going to be given two angles, one side, so you're going to find that other missing side to start. Okay. All right, you guys have any questions? You know how to get a hold of me. Have a great week. Take care.